Well, it's finally here, so let's take a couple minutes to do a spoiler-free review of the latest DC Universe animated movie, The Legion of Superheroes. Well, I know a lot of you guys were really excited about DC's latest animated project, Legion of Superheroes. The franchise has a huge cult following, and this was something that was unexpected when it's announced, and it's pretty awesome to see it part of DC's current Tomorrowverse series of movies. Now, as many of you know, the current universe of DC animated movies, called the Tomorrowverse, began with Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and has moved through JSA World War II, Batman The Long Halloweens Part 1 and 2, Green Lantern, and now the latest one is Legion of Superheroes, which is a pretty awesome glimpse into the future of this particular DC universe. Now, the coolest thing about this movie, I have to say, is it sports the biggest cast of any movie the DCU has given us yet, and really does give us that well-deserved spotlight on the 31st century, and the first glimpse into where this rebooted canon is going next with our favorite group of heroes. Now, like I said, the movie follows Kara Zor-El, who, just like in the comics, after surviving the destruction of her homeworld, is sent to Earth to follow in her cousin's footsteps and become Supergirl. Now, as many of you found out in the trailer, life on Earth was not too easy for Kara, ultimately landing her in the 31st century so she can be mentored by the Legion of Superheroes. Now, in the film, this is where she starts to try to fit in with the rest of the Legion, including the resident Brainiac, Brainiac 5, who she immediately does not trust, but has quite the great story arc. Really, at the core of the whole movie is this Supergirl, who is played by Meg Donnelly, and Harry Shum Jr.'s Brainiac 5, learning to trust each other, and the rest of the Legionnaire team, basically playing off this dynamic between the two characters. The movie really does lean into Kara's journey, and it totally is from her point of view experiencing the 31st, and the film itself is completely from her point of view. One of the best parts of the film, though, was how so many other Legionnaires really did get an opportunity to shine. It's really difficult to introduce this many new characters, and the cast and crew did a good job of giving everybody just enough time so that we got to know not just their personalities, but we did get to see them in action. Now, one thing I do think will catch some people off guard is there are some changes to classic Legionnaires. Some of them are simple things like aesthetics, and some of them are quite major changes and deviations from characters in the comics. For the most part, for the movie, it totally works, and I get it, and I liked it. But I do suspect there's going to be a little bit of backlash about one particular character we're not going to spoil right now, so just be prepared if you're a classic Legion fan. Well, there might be a couple of things you don't like. Quite honestly, the action sequences for the film were pretty good. The movie opens up with a really great version of destruction of Krypton. You get quite the battle between Supergirl and a classic Superman foe in the streets of Metropolis. And then we find our way to the 31st century, where we have some really great conflicts, not just between the heroes and the villains, but between some of the heroes and the heroes. There are some really interesting twists with the villains of this movie and some unexpected traitors. I'm not going to give it away, but if you know who the Dark Circle is, the latter version in the comics, you might have a good idea where this is going, but I promise there are a few surprises along the way when it comes to the villains. No spoilers. Now, the animation in this project is what we've come to expect from the new Tomorrowverse. When DC went to this new world of animated features, we got a totally new design aesthetic for the characters, and once again, it's showcased here. Now, it's very, very colorful, and I like that part of it, but probably the biggest thing that sticks out about the style is sort of the thick outlines around the face to make each individual character stand out. Now, like we said, each Legionnaire does get a bit of time to shine, but this is also something that the whole movie really has to work hard against. Like I said, it's super difficult to introduce this many characters, and then you throw in all the rather obscure and unique powers that the Legion bring to the game, and I think the team who developed this movie did a pretty good job making all that work. Now, all in all, like I said, I had a pretty good time with this film, and I'm going to totally recommend it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not the absolute greatest animated feature ever, but considering the high bar they had to reach, how hungry Legion fans are, and the introduction of so many characters and mythology in this particular movie, well, I have to say they did a pretty good job. Interestingly enough, too, they managed to tease the next film, Warworld, pretty well, so I think fans are not only getting a complete package, but a glimpse into the future.